Welcome, YouTube. We got another one in the string of builds here for you guys. Let's get right to it. We got everyone's favorite demigod here, the God of Thunder, Thor himself. One of my favorites. I've been really putting a lot of work in, sifting through the gear, the ISOs, to really get you guys, my personal favorites for a ranged, a full might, and then a nice high heroic with it's basically the build that I use full time on stream and to farm XP, farm levels, basically just run Thor. I don't know, I might add a Jarvis barrier to this piece, to that heroic build, at OTL time, but in that time frame is not exactly smitten. We'll see how exactly hard Omega threat level, cloning labs, all that stuff is when we get to it. But let's throw up the stats here for you guys. I first have our ranged build going with Thor. It's still going to be a high heroic. We're still at 5.6 heroic rating for Thor. That's gonna help us out quite a bit. We're gonna get 225% critical damage on our range throws. We're at 2.3 range, 900 melee, 1.1, almost 1.2 defense. We're gonna be at 5.6k heroic rating, and then basically, we're gonna get into some kind of different stuff here. You would see me, especially with range. Range Thor is kind of strange, a little bit. It took me a long time to warm up to the idea, and then once I did, honestly, this build is really fun. So we're gonna do power attacks with cosmic damage, and then increased stun from sprint and dodge attacks. This melee is not gonna do anything super crazy for the range build, but in all honesty, it still helps us when you do go melee. We'll be holding the triangle button, the heavy power attacks, and then Odin Force. That Odin Force will still give us a battery effect here. You're gonna see that this double cosmic scheme and the Odin Force attacks are gonna help us a lot in this build. Basically, that's the only way I use Thor. I use double cosmic. A lot of people use double Pim with the potentiator. It's all any of those two options are solid. I don't see a lot of plasma gear for Thor. I'm not 100% sure if it just doesn't drop for him or not. But cosmic or Pim is still gonna do the deed for you. The chest plate. This chest plate we'll use for both builds. Mostly just because it's got a high proficiency, high valor rating. It's not anything too crazy. We do get a couple of nice damage reductions, and then also a perfect parry will trigger an anti-gravity field. That's kind of fun. And then lastly, the belt. This one's really cool. This is the reason why I held off on the Thor build for so long. I've been really waiting in sifting for a belt that gives us an intrinsic boost. That's not terrible. Like every intrinsic boost I swear I would find for Thor, or honestly any character in this game, the intrinsic boosts were always really bad gear for me. It's just RNG. It's the way of the game. It's not my fault or the game's fault or anybody's fault. It just is what it is. But anyways, this is still gonna give us a takedown intrinsic burst, which is going to be pretty easy to activate for us in the long run. It's super easy for us to activate. 20% increased stun damage from melee attacks midair, and then we're going to get a recharge rate increase for the support ability. So basically, this is going to help us stay fully charged on Odin Force. And then both these ISOs are mainly precision ISOs. They're not anything too crazy. They are going to give us a little bit additional resources from strong boxes. Ideally, I would like a blue ISO for the range. I personally haven't found any blue ISOs for Thor. It's kind of sad. But we still have the precision and resolve. So basically, most of our defense is coming out of these two resolve pieces of gear. But so anyways, and then also we'll use the major lethal stone. You guys are going to see this as just a running effect on the build videos. I don't really use the other... I've never actually used the Dark Hold or the Appendix or the Obsidian Stone. I've never made it. I could make a tank build, when I do, I will probably use this stone for sure. We do use the Ring of Nebulung. I've never used it for Thor though, mainly because of his mastery. You can use his mastery and to basically give you heroic orbs on his tornado call, like his God Blast, the R1 ability, the assault ability. Basically, that's going to give us all the orbs we could ever need. And then we'll use the lethal will for like any kind of increased damage and stuff like that. So let's swap a few of these out here. These 2 ISOs have to go for the full heroic build that we're about to get into. Both of these are cosmic surges. This one's a little bit different though. It's not actually like so you know, the cosmic infinity we've talked about quite a lot on the channel. These are a staple on most of our builds. They basically regen your health and your health and heroics as you do damage. This other one's a little bit different. As you take when you take damage, there's a small percentage that it'll deal a significant amount of cosmic damage to all nearby enemies. The best part about this is I always get it when I'm in Odin Force. So basically what happens is I hit this cosmic wave at everyone, and then all of a sudden Odin Force is active and there's lightning strikes everywhere, and we basically take everyone out in battery effect. I know this looks strange to grab a purple piece of gear, but anyways, so this purple piece of gear is a high resolve, high valor piece for us. This is what gets us. We get almost to 11,000 heroic rating for Thor. We're at 1,500 melee, a little under 1.1k ranged, and then we're a little over 1,100 defense. So basically, this is still going to use heavy power heavy power attacks, deal cosmic damage. We'll get an increased damage from sprint and dodge, and then light combo finishers will trigger a stun damage explosion, which is actually super OP. Thor's light combo finisher is awesome. The hammer spins are really fun to do, and then the final spin is the one that will deal the stun damage. Over to the hammer. This hammer is going to give us a heroic charge burst on any ranged critical attack. And then ranged power attacks deal cosmic damage. And then also we have a chance of defeating any enemy with a ranged attack will give us a willpower burst. The same piece as before. High proficiency, high valor piece with the defensive buffs. And then lastly, this is like one of my favorite pieces on Thor that I've found. The exotics for Thor really smurf his gear quite, like at least my build, quite a bit. This is the first exotic I found for him. Like you can see, we have one over here. I mean, it would give us a little bit of advantage, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, when you really look at the build itself, this piece, when you look back, when you compare them both, that gamma potentiator piece is definitely not as good as the girdle of the Thunderer. Basically, you get an increased damage dealt by all attacks while overcharged by 20%. And then I get also a shock damage dealt potentiator by 20%, which we're talking about the god of thunder and lightning here. You know, shock's pretty important for him. And then lastly, increase the amount of overcharge energy gained from all attacks by 15%. That's the girdle that we use for the high heroic. In the melee build, basically the only thing I would do to change up a melee, like for his melee, possibly, I would possibly throw on the ISOs over here. We have 2 red ISOs. If you really want to do like a really high melee build only, you don't want to have like any kind of like heroic rating, that would be a way to go. You know, personally, I don't exactly like recommend this build for Thor. I think his heroics are your best bet to go. These yellow ISOs were honestly absolutely perfect. Like high 50s, like man, you can't get much better than this stuff right here, guys. High 50 valor on both pieces. I mean, double stack valor obviously would be better, but you know, it is what it is. Lastly, let's look at some mastery and spec trees for you guys. So for the far left here, we're gonna this will be for like a ranged. This is the range mastery we have. You need to get the ranged increase. For the melee and heroic builds, we're gonna use this one. Light and heavy attacks boost the energy of all heroic ability meters by 1.5% for the light attacks and 2% for heavies. Unarmed attacks will deal 15% extra damage. I like this a lot, man. This one's really fun. And then also combo finishers get increased damage by 25%. Mainly for the heavy combo finishers, you can deal a massive amount of damage with a heavy combo for Thor. We'll get heroic orbs on takedowns. I recommend this on every single character. Do not shy away from heroic orbs. Heroic orbs are what keep you and your team going. This will be our tornado throw, critical throw. So basically holding your throw all the way down is like a really good attack. Lastly, we're gonna use the guard. We're gonna use the guard breaker in this range. We're basically gonna use all the bottom here. The flying shots. I like the extra dodge, and then the fact that you can do bolts out at other enemies. It's actually a pretty funny attack to watch too. Defeating enemies while Odin Force is active. Strikes nearby enemies with lightning is absolutely amazing. It's super cool to watch and be a part of. Takedowns will grant 30% of intrinsic Odin Force energy. So anytime you're in Odin Force and you need more time or you need more energy, it's easy to just grab a takedown and keep going. And even with range, the only thing that I would change on my range is literally these two trees over here, friends, on YouTube. If you guys are sitting here looking for it, unarmed, looking at like, wow, what would you do for range though? Like honestly, the only two trees I would change up are these two. And what you would do is get your increased range damage and then also unarmed damage. Unarmed damage by 15% scales up with range. So you basically get a lot of that going on. This will also help 35% increased intrinsic ability gained by unarmed attacks. Odin Force is overcharged, and it gets you the energy regeneration, like heroic recharge, and then the overcharged surrounding enemies will be struck by lightning. We're going back at that one again. Super fun to be a part of. So we've already spent one. I did grab his heroic damage by 3%. We probably will get that one next. Or this critical damage is we talked about this on the last video with Kate Bishop. We talked about it a little bit before, but basically this is your top damage no matter what. This is the best tree you could possibly level up. So pour that into any character first and you'll be pretty satisfied. You'll be really happy. And then the 12.5% increased heroic recharge rate is definitely one I'm going to be looking at as well. And then also this is the stun and status damage. Thor is a walking battery effect for us with the double cosmic effects. This tree here is going to be our third, probably most important one to level up here. Specializations, increased critical attack damage and attack chance by anyone affected by Warrior's Fury. Nearby enemies grant teammates receive a temporary damage boost with Warrior's Fury. I use the cryo storm for battery effect when they're done. Like if they're left over, they'll have a really easy battery effect for me to hit with cosmic. Defeating enemies with God Blast refunds 5% of assault heroic energy, which is awesome. I could clear a whole room and basically get my God Blast back. I use this one. This is a little bit different than most people. Most people use these status effects. The Biofrost will deal cryo, and then also the Biofrost will deal burn. A lot of people use these two. I like the healing one where I can restore 10% of willpower per second to all teammates within the area. It heals myself as well. It's a pretty it's like a get out of jail free card that also deals like 4 million damage. It's insane. Automatically restore 50% of your maximum willpower when returning from Biofrost. It's basically Biofrost is gonna help me stay alive. In all honesty, any of these other specialization trees, these aren't gonna change much for range. They can also change and still be utilized well. That's the fun part about this game. Even if you look at this and say, I play Thor way different than you, I want to do this, like, go ahead, you can do it, friend. It's okay. This is our guide, though. I appreciate everyone stopping in, hanging out, doing the thing. Catch us live on Twitch this week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're going to be activating our XP boost Wednesday night. We're going to be grinding after I get out of work, starting at 8 p.m. Thank you all. Thank you all. Be blessed. Peace and prosperity. As always, good night.